These things are just amazing. I keep raising the lights up, and the tomatoes, it seems like in just a day, are right back up to where they're touching. These ones that are the tallest are cherry tomatoes, and the guys at Bexley want to convert them to olives, so that'll be pretty cool to see. So we need to create some room for these guys and get them ready to go. And just since we're here, I'll show you the other stuff growing too. That's Swiss chard, mustard frills, peppers. They're not far behind the tomatoes. Stuff to go in the NFT system. More mustard, peppers, and frills. And then if you look down here, it's a whole lot more peppers, some marigolds. They make great edible flowers, and of course the tomatoes. So it's time to walk over to the tunnel and get all this stuff ready to go. I just did a quick count, and I think I've got about 140 seedlings that are down here in this lower tray. So pretty darn cool. Let's get over there.
Hey everybody, welcome to Yellow Dog Farm.
Just crazy, you guys. Last week the low was 19 degrees, and I'll show you in just a sec. It really damaged the tomatoes over here in the tunnel. In fact, if you look at that spigot, we've got it wrapped in a towel because we're worried about the valve bursting. So 19 degrees, all the tomatoes in the tunnel is damaged. However, right now the low is going to be in the low 60s and the high is going to be in the mid 70s. Just crazy. So I've got the sides open in the tunnel in late January. As you can see, these tomatoes are looking pretty pitiful. They're all pretty much damaged by the cold, and that's because I had actually taken the heater and turned it around. Oh, you gotta see these Brussels sprouts. They're looking awesome. So hopefully we've got Brussels sprouts in our future. There's the NFT system. I try not to trip over everything. It's looking good. Everything's growing well, just slow. So, I assume that's due to the reduced light. And we'll take a quick gander here at the flood and drain table. I wish this broccoli had started coming along, but we'll see what we get. But overall, it's looking pretty good. But because we've got those little tomato monsters coming, we need to clear this tomato line and get it ready and get them planted, because they're not going to last in the shop there much longer. So I'll get set up and get busy. Really is a shame to see all these adult tomatoes come down, but that's what they got to do. My lesson learned for next year is no fall tomatoes. They don't, they grew, we got some great tomatoes, but they don't proliferate, and everyone's pretty much tomatoed out, so they're not interested in them. So let's get it cleaned up. couple of days since I recorded video of planting these tomato starts here in our bucket line. We had a few things going on the farm, and I gotta tell you, I'm just amazed. I thought when I put them in, they were really wilty, and I was really worried about them, but they are doing fantastic, and I'm just noticing that they're also starting to generate flowers. So pretty darn exciting. Now that I've got a little more time today, I'll be able to show you a little bit more of the planting process of how we put these in. Hard to believe, last week of January and it's 80 degrees. So let's get started. Sorry about all the trellis strings, but that's kind of the way it goes out here. This is a Dutch bucket. You can see that it's got this notch shape, and what happens is that this little protrusion here goes down into the drain pipe, and then the Dutch bucket has this little plastic elbow that snaps into it. So that's what you get. And what happens is when water comes into the system, it'll fill up and it'll hold to about here. So there's always at least that much water in there. And then when it's being irrigated, of course it gets more, but the water does come away from the roots and the plant can still get a nice healthy drink. So I'm steadily, as I plant, I'm removing buckets from the last run, taking them away, washing them, and installing these new buckets. So it'll be a little bit of a herky-jerky deal because my main goal is to get as many in as I can. And right now I'm ready for about 8 more plants, so we'll get those in. Okay, in these Dutch buckets I've got perlite. It's really great, super light, and almost feels, light as air. But the great thing is it gives something medium for the roots to grab onto, but it still allows all the water to drain away. So it's really hard to do it wrong with perlite, if you know what I mean. It's hard for me to ruin the roots, so that's why I continue to use it. It's a bit more expensive, but it's spray proof. Now these plants, you can see they're so darn big, they just want to fall over. What I'm going to do is root down into the perlite just as deep as I can and go ahead and plop this tomato in there. And I can feel the water down there, so I know that the base of the root ball is contacting the water. So these guys are always going to be able to get something to drink. And you can see the roots there. I mean, these things are long overdue to be planted. But to be quite honest, it was just so early in the year that I was delaying as long as I could. So that's what we've got going on here. And then we use this twine trellis setup. And we've got these great little clips. I don't know if you've ever used them before or not, but it grabs onto the string and then wraps itself around the plant and supports it. So really, really good for the plants. And these guys are so darn tall that I'm probably going to end up using a couple clips as I put them in. And the strings look pretty loose, but give it another month or two and these are going to be super taut with all the weight of the plants leaning against them. So it's a really great way to trellis. I like it a lot.